Speculation will never, ever die.
Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
Forever, ever. Yes, back in 2020, we're going back more than a year and a half ago, I started this Grail project. The thought was that I can pick some modern books and flip them, and with whatever proceeds I got from them, I would buy a Grail. Now, the project itself was lackluster, and the reason was because I wagered heavily on certain moderns that just didn't really pan out. You know, some of these were big time losses, like that Harley Quinn number 75. That was a big loss. I can't call those Thor number 4s losses though, because like I only paid what, $4.23 for the Black Winter. The slabbing fee was $26, so I'm in that for like $30, $31. Let me see, how much would that be? Yeah, $31, let's say, for that one. This one right here with virgins. So, and those actually cost only $23.85 to get slabbed. So, yeah, those I was selling. I remember I was selling them for pretty decent profits back then, but then I decided to keep some of them. The Witcher comics were fire though. I mean, those were just awesome books, and some of them ended up being keepers and being Grails for me. Anyway, not these particular ones. I think these were in lower shape, like maybe 4.5s or 5s, but I did sell these, and I made pretty decent profits. But then you have some like Harley Quinn 75. That ended up being a total loss. Look at that. I was into that $40 per book before even getting them slabbed. The Juggernaut number 1s were good. Marvel Tales that one was not so good. Of course, the Donny Cates. Oh my God, Donny Cates. Donny Cates, I really enjoyed the way that he wrote books when I was reading his stories, but then his finishes, he just couldn't finish well, you know. And I got a bunch of Donny Cates, so Venom 27s, Venom 28s. Well, that 28 Goo, that was phenomenal for me with Venom and Spider-Man in the wrestling ring. Oh yeah, that was a phenomenal book. Venom 29s was okay. It fizzled down big time nowadays though. But anyway, bottom line is that this Grail project didn't produce enough cash for me to really get a big time Grail. But go figure, this Grail project actually got me 2 Grails. Well, in this particular one, only 1, because at number 13, I picked Last of Us. This was the Ashcan. I bought a lot on eBay that was August the 2nd of 2020. It was a CGC 9.8 and a 9.4 for $220.17 total. That was the Ashcan. Now, I took the Ashcan for particular reasons. Here it is. Now, this is a 9.6. I also went out. I'll show you guys. I went out and I bought a bunch of Ashcans. I bought 5 in this particular lot here that I paid $223 for, and this was right around that time. So this was in, where the heck was this? This was in March. That one was in March. So I bought that one before those. Yeah, I bought those before this. I bought the CGCs. You know, that comes out to, for 5 books, about $45 a book, I'm gonna say, right? $45 a book for each ash can. And then after that, I bought a couple more. So in the long run, I ended up with 3 9.8 ash cans. Why did I go after the ash cans? What attracted me to the ash can was the fact that it came with the actual game. Now, it didn't come with every version of the game. It came in with the version of the game that's the survival edition. So whoever purchased that survival edition got this comic book. But this was being sold to gamers, man, and not all gamers are comic book fans. You know, obviously not all comic book fans are gamers, but you would have to think that there are more comic book fans that are gamers than gamers that are comic book fans. So I figured that they wouldn't take care of the books. And these also came out at the same time, and the game came out at the same time as the first print. You could tell the first print by that cover. See where it says The Last of Us? That'd be in white. That's the first print. Then the orange would be the third print, and the red would be the second print. But if you're going to go after them, look, all of them are going to have some type of value, especially after what just happened with The Last of Us. It's a great series. If you guys aren't watching it, it's a phenomenal series. And a lot of times, especially with speculation, right, you're counting on the project that you're specking on, that they're actually going to do a good job. As soon as Pedro Pascal was cast as Joel, I kind of knew that was going to be, you know, that guy doesn't take bad roles. Mandalorian, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Narcos, but that is one phenomenal series. That guy just doesn't take bad roles. And this is actually the variant. No, that's the ash can right there. But the variant looks like the ash can, except it's full sized. That's the variant. If you look at the first one, right, which is cover A's, there are a total of 284 graded. There's 83 universal 9.8s. There's 83 universal 9.6s, 50 9.4s, but you have 284 total. That obviously includes the signature series, and there's actually 2 qualified grades. I don't know why they're qualified. It must come with something in there that people took out. If you go to the variant, there are less of that. Of the variants, there are 154 total grades. There's only 35 9.8s, 38 9.6s, 28 9.4s. But check out. I'm not even going to cover the second and third printing. Check out the ash can. Ash can, there's only 32 total graded. There's 7 9.8s. 11 9.6s, 4 9.4s. Out of 32, there are half of them. You could say, you know, a little bit more than half, but right around half that are 9.6 to 9.8. The 9.6 is the, I guess that's the, that's the most graded at 11 for the 9.6, but that's 7 9.8s, man. Now that's going to increase on all of them, the cover A's, the variants, and the ash can. That will increase. But I cannot see ash cans that I'm going to guesstimate that when all is said and done, now I've guesstimated for different books, and so far I've been right, all right? I've been over guesstimated on certain books. The Blue Marvel, I guesstimated at 400 9.8s when all was said and done. That's actually kind of, well, it's not really getting there, but I think it's going to reach 400. The Witcher comics, man, I'm vastly overestimating that. I mean, even total grades on those Witcher comics, especially number 26 and 27. But on these, I'm going to say we're looking at high grades. And I'm talking high grades 9 and above, okay? 9 and above for this. I'm thinking 9.8s. I don't believe there'll be more than 50 9.8s in the ash can. I don't think so. You're gonna find them more in the cover A's, because the cover A's were collected by comic book collectors. These were not. So these are gonna be in rough shape, and just the way that the comic book itself is. This is a 9.8. It's a glossy cover, and it's black. It's black on the border. See that black? That black is unforgiving, man. Yeah, I can't see there being that many 9.8s. 9.6s, yeah, I could probably see them being a lot more, but even the 9.6s, I think there's going to be more 9.6s in the cover A's and the cover, the variant covers. I guess I don't know if you would call that a cover B. But that is one phenomenal spec. And right now, that book, man, I don't even think that it's a spec anymore. I think that book is, I'm gonna say it's a modern Grail. If you look at The Walking Dead, and we go to the numbers on The Walking Dead, there's a total of 3,528 all grades on The Walking Dead. Now there's 83 qualified, right? But 3,500 Walking Deads. There's 23 9.9s. I can't see a 9.9 in that ash can. Maybe in the cover A or the variant there might be a 1.9 later, but I just can't see that. There's 971 9.8s. Yo. Oof. The 9.8 goes for fair market value of around $3,100 right now, and there's 900 of them, almost 1,000 of them right now. That's universal. Actually, there's more than 1,000 because some of the signature series, but obviously the signature series is going to go for a lot more than 3,100. But the regular, there's almost 1,000 of the universals, and they go for $3,100 on the average. 30-day average is 3,000. It's right there, 3,028. All right, I'll tell you what I just did. I don't know if this is going to appear in your top 10s. I've been talking to my guy, man. I've been talking to my guy, Mr. Wilbert, and yeah, it's appearing in GPA, the sale that I did for the 9.8, one of my 9.8s. I had 3 9.8s, now I only have 2. However, I went out and I bought 2 more raws that I'm hoping I haven't received them yet, but I'm hoping that they're gonna be getting back over here so I can get one of those 9.8s back, and I can have a third one, hopefully a fourth one also. Okay, but I sold a 9.8 for $1,450, and what do I always tell you guys, man? Feed the hobby. My last 2 9.8s stay in the PC. You will not see them for sale. All right, I might sell a 9.8 if another one comes, if 2 of them come back. If I get 1 more coming back, I think I'm going to keep it. I also sold an 8.0 and that one sold for $125, which is still ends up being a pretty good investment for me regardless, even though I held it for almost 2 years. But at $45 per book, and you know, I would say probably around $35 in the pressing and grading for that time. I think it was around 33 to 35, no more than 35. So I still made out on the 8.0, and I only had one 8.0, so it ended up being good. But let's go back to that, right? The highest that a Last of Us has ever sold was the cover A went for $16.50, I believe. If you look at Walking Dead, and I like doing this because these are comparable. If you look at the Walking Dead, the most comparable would be the 9.6 at $1,750 for a 9.6. A 9.8 is $3,100. The difference is that I just don't look. You're not going to get the same amount of number from these books, these Dark Horse books. You're not going to get the same amount of CGCs or graded books as you did with The Walking Dead. I believe the cover A's and the variants, I know the cover A, I believe, I'm almost positive, I don't know this for a fact. You know what, Wilbert, or one of you guys out there, I love you guys, man, because you please post it if you find the print runs for the cover A's. I believe is around 6,000, but I could be wrong. So how many are in great top shape? You know, we're talking 9s and above, because if you're looking at, say, 9s for The Walking Dead #1, they're going for almost $1,000 for a 9.0, versus you look at a book like that, a 9.0, going for around $200. There's one actually for sale right now, not mine, but there's actually one for sale right now that's it's going for less than $200 right now, and it's they put it on auction, you know. But would that be a good buy? In my opinion, yeah, man, I think it would be a good buy. I actually like the story of The Last of Us much better than I like the story of The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead did come out with 2 series that were phenomenal. The first 2, maybe even up to the fourth season, were phenomenal, right? But then after that, it kind of veered off, and it kind of jumped the shark. Now, they've managed to sort of patch the show up a little bit so that some of the people that left, like myself included, because I used to watch that series, you know, every week whenever it came out. You know, I even watched Fear the Walking Dead and all that. But yeah, I don't know. There's a certain point where I lost interest, and that could happen to The Last of Us. There's something huge that's going to happen once they get into the events of the second game that could veer it off. However, production value of both of these shows, that production, it just looks just magnificent, you know. One thing that Marvel can't do for their properties is they can't come up with something that's satisfying for the actual fan. Marvel could care less about what you think about whatever your property is that, you know, that you want to see. You know, for Thor, Love and Thunder, I told you guys, love should have nothing to do with gore. And look what happens. You know, they don't put up shows for or movies or projects for the fans. They're putting up stuff for the public. For it's Disney. It's Disney, you know. What Disney movie has really followed like comics? And I understand that that's going to be a lot harder to do, but at least stay true to certain characters like Thanos, Infinity War. That stayed true to the way that Thanos actually is in comics. Now, it didn't stay true to the comic itself, Infinity Gauntlet. You know, nothing really that in Infinity Gauntlet really happened except for the snap, right? But and that was huge. So it was good that they kept the snap. Without the snap, it you know, I don't think that Infinity War does really well, you know. But at least they kept true with that, and they kept true with Thanos's character. As far as Gore goes, Gore was a joke, you know. This is staying true to the game, and obviously you can't do everything that the game does, but you could definitely make it as close as possible to what the game is without, you know, improvising or compromising the fan base. That's probably a better word, you know. I am thinking that this show is gonna make this property, probably in comics anyway, this particular comic or the cover A or that variant, more than likely either the cover A or the ash can, it's gonna make it like similar to this. I like doing similarities, and I'm telling you, I just think that that particular book, there's gonna be less of them in 9/8 in the high grade 9/0s and above than this, you know. And I don't want to say that Walking Dead's on the way down, because it's still a good property, and you know, they have more series coming out. You know, I think they're going to be branching off 2 more series from other characters. You know, I think Daryl's going to get his own show. But I don't know. Do you guys, like, when The Walking Dead comes out, do you feel the same if you're watching The Last of Us as when The Last of Us comes out, right? I mean, even though this is brand new, but yeah, I even in season 1 and season 2, I didn't feel the same way as like, hey man, I'm gonna watch this. This is like an event for the family, kind of like the what's it called, Game of Thrones was for us. As we sit around and watch this, just like Game of Thrones, you know. All right, I'm gonna give you a spec, and this is a great spec, and I want you guys to, if you're interested, this is how you go after this book, okay? All right, this is how you get this. You're gonna go to your local GameStop or any type of game store that sells used games around you or close to you. You know, you're gonna go hunting. You're gonna hunt for The Last of Us, the Survival Edition. It's PS3. I don't know if it was. I don't think this was an Xbox game, right? It was mainly a PS3, I believe. But anyway, you're looking for the Survival Edition. That's where you're gonna find that comic. If you buy, don't just buy. If you see it, don't just buy it and assume it's there. Ask to inspect it and open it up. It's gonna be a used game. Open it up and check out to see if that book is there. That's how you hunt, man. If you buy it on eBay they're going for a lot of money. And I'm gonna admit to you that 2 of these sales are mine. Okay, I bought one well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, but let's just say that two of the higher ones are mine. Okay. But look, these aren't even those. These are the variants, which is full size. They're going for $200, $225. Condition is everything, guys. Condition is everything. Don't go out and buy this for $250 and have a book that's all beat up. Don't do that. You get a book that's like an 8.0 condition, or you don't pay more than $50 for that book. At least not right now anyway. I think, and this is only my opinion, but I think that eventually that a 9.0 is going to be similar to what The Walking Dead is, if not higher, in my opinion, especially in like price wise. So if a 9.2 when The Walking Dead goes for over $1,000 for a 9.2, and how many are there? There's 222 in the census. Now, could there be that much in the ice cans? Yeah, there can be that much. I don't know how many survival editions they made but how many really survived though? How many survived? That's what you got to ask yourself. Anyway, to me, the one great thing that happened from this Grail project is that I found, two books that I'm going to keep, and then I fed the hobby with the third book. With the third book, I made a profit, and I paid off everything that I bought from The Last of Us, including the grading. That's a great deal, because you have to feed the hobby. I'm going to show you the next one, the next spec. Now this one's a deep spec, and I want you guys to be very careful with it, but all my guys in the UK should listen to this one. I did not know who The Witcher was until I watched the Netflix series, the first series in Netflix, and I saw Henry Cavill. So I said, you know what, let me give this a shot. What the heck? I fell in love with that series, mostly because of his commitment to it. He was a fan of the series, and he always wanted to play Geralt. He said that in many an interview, right? That he always wanted there to be a project, and there was a project that he was going to put in for it. He did, and he got it. Now we all know that he left because they have, differences in the way that the production, he doesn't like where the production is heading, where the people in charge are taking the character. That actually says a lot of bad things for The Witcher in the short term. Keep in mind that now The Witcher is, it's a different story, but look, The Witcher is The Witcher, right? Geralt is Geralt. Eventually they'll make another project that's going to be great, and another game will come out, right? But anyway, that's a different story. The thing about it is this: Henry Cavill is moving on, and he's moving on to what? To Warhammer. I am not a fan of Warhammer, so I'm not going to tell you guys that this is where you got to go out and actually get, but I'm going to give you 4 specs for Warhammer. I think they're all going to have value. I'm going to predict the best one, but I could be wrong. All right. I don't want you guys to go out there and spend a lot of money on this. You don't spend a lot of money on this. The first spec, and this is the lowest spec in my opinion, is White Dwarf number 210. This is actually the first published Warhammer comic book. It's called Inferno number 0. White Dwarf number 210. White Dwarf is a magazine Now, this magazine was published all over the world. There's 3 of them here from 3 different regions. This one right here, see the price is $9.95. This was sold in Australia. It's $9.90. Well, Australian dollars. I don't know what they call them. What do they call them? Aussies? I don't know what they call them in Australia. This is the American version, $4.99, and Canadian $7.50. And then this one is the one that's probably the better one, right? This is the one they sold over in the UK. That's where my UK guys come in, right? It's because you guys can get this cheap, man. And you guys can hunt for these in great condition. See, I've got these on eBay, and I got them for, look, I paid more for shipping, for them shipping them here, than I did for the actual magazine. And most of these magazines, you're going to find them all beat up. If you can get a magazine like this in like in the 9s and above, man, I think you're going to have something really nice. But and I know that you can slab these, and I know why, because there are White Dwarf magazines that are slabbed on CGC sensors, not number 210. There's no 210s that have been slabbed. I'll show you what the 210 does have, and I checked all 3 of them, and they have the same content. The only thing that changes is the price, right? And on some of them, like say like this, check out like that newsstand. And that newsstand actually seems the same, right? Same numbers, even though one is UK and the other one is Australian. All right, this one's different. That's the American version, right? I'll show you guys where Inferno number 0 is, and you're not going to find a comic book here. It's not a comic book that you're gonna. I thought that maybe there was a comic book here that you could detach, but it's not. It is comic book content. This is it. This is Inferno, and this actually they give you. Hold on a second. Let me go in here. They give you a little preview, which is kind of cool. Look, issue number 0, but it's part of the magazine. You can't remove it. It's Inferno, Tales of Fantasy and Adventure. And you're going to see, look, that's your cover right there. And if you notice that cover, this is issue number 0. That's a partial cover of the actual Inferno number 1. You see that? It's just a little tidbit that they give you there. That's actually my second spec. That's my second spec. And now I'm going from least to best. This is the first spec. This is the least of them. And I'm making this one the least because this one was heavily printed. They're all over the place. And people still have them. But not in great condition. Now, see this here? Look at the introduction. Tells you this is the first comic book. In case you hadn't noticed, you just turned over a White Dwarf page, the like of which has never been seen before. The next 14 pages make up an extra special White Dwarf feature, an exclusive issue 0 of Inferno. It's telling you right there. This is the first comic book for Inferno. Well, at least in comic book format, right? They're telling stories now of Warhammer. And this one right here, this is Captain Morgan. Dark Angels. See that? And this is the first time you see it. Now, as far as comic book content goes, they only have like 2 pages of comic book content here. But the black border is still Inferno. You see that? And that's more of like a novel. You kind of read, but then here's where the comic book starts. See that? They just give you teasers of what's coming in Inferno #1. Look, and here's your comic book pages. Now, the one thing that you're going to want to watch if you're going after this White Dwarf #210, all of them, in every version, they have to have these. These are cutouts. If these are not there, this is an incomplete book. They have to have these cutouts. I don't know if I'm going to have these graded. I think I'm just going to hold them, you know, because I don't know what they're going to be worth. There's one book that I'm going to slab. Unfortunately, of the 4 books that I'm going to talk about today, I only have 2 of them. I have copies of my least spec, which is White Dwarf 210, and my best spec. Let's get to #2, going from bottom to top, right? #2 from the bottom is Inferno #1. Why is this still on the low end? Is because it's magazine size. And now this one is a really good spec, especially for the UK guys, because again, you can get these really cheap. You can probably get these for under £15 in the UK. I've seen them go on eBay for like £5. Even in bad condition, I think that's a pretty good spec. You know, it's pretty nice. Now there's a guy on eBay right now trying to sell one for $225. He was trying to sell it for $250. He knows what's going on. He knows this is going to be a good spec, so he's trying to get the most out of it. I don't blame him. The #3 spec, in my opinion, is this one. This one is the first issue of Warhammer. This is Warhammer #1 monthly. Okay. This counts as a #1, kind of, right? Well, this is a #1 anyway. But this is comic book sized. I don't know how many exist. Again, maybe some of you guys can help with the print run and just put it in the comments. All right, if you can find it. But it's a good book to have, in my opinion. But my favorite book, this one's my favorite. Now, as far as prices go, and this is what I mean. It's like, don't go crazy for these. That Inferno #1 and the White Dwarf, you can find those for, you know, less than £15 each, right? Yeah, you're gonna have people that are gonna try to sell them for a lot of money and stuff, but you can hunt for them and you can find them somewhere, especially the UK guys. This one, however, is going to be the most expensive. Now that Warhammer #1, people are starting to sell it for like $100 or less. Always look at condition, guys. You see that right there? That is pretty beaten up, really beaten up. Now, can you fix that? You could fix some of it for sure, but that's not going to be a 9.8. Can you get that into the 9s? I don't even know if you can, man. It's probably going to be in the 8s, even after a press. Maybe even in the 7s. All right? I don't know how good a presser. If you see the back of that book, too, condition is everything in all comics. This is my favorite spec of the Warhammer. This is Warhammer #0. This was a free comic. Now, I don't know how many were produced, but I know there's not too many of them out there. CGC census for this, there's only one in the CGC census of #0. There's more censors of the number 1, but that's also going to change. You know, it's more people are going to be sending these in. I don't know if they're going to be sending the Infernos. I would have to think that they will. The White Dwarves, they're probably not going to send them right now. But you don't know what's going to happen. Look, the bottom line is this. You don't know what the series is going to look like. Now, Mr. Cavill is involved in the production, the entire production angle. That was his request for being in the series, right? That he wanted to be part of the production team. So that's what I'm specking on. That's my spec right there. My spec is Cavill, not actually Warhammer. It's Cavill. He believes in it. He has a passion for it. So that's my spec. I don't want you guys to go out and spend $100 on a book like this, because you don't know if the end product is going to be good, or if it's even going to happen or not. You know, I am a gambler, and I gamble on that. And I gamble on that because of my kids. One in particular that played the game, and he told me that's a great game, and it's a great story. Then I played a little bit of the game, but I just didn't like the graphics. This is back in that time, though. This is back in that time when I played a little bit of that game. I didn't like the graphics in the first one, and then I was like, but I only played a little bit of it. He played the game, and he said that's a great property, and I went by his opinion, and you know what? Hey, so far, well, he was right. It ended up paying off for me, because I sold 2 of them already. I have a third one up for sale. I'm keeping the 2 9/8s. I still have some 9/6s and 1 9/4. As far as this goes, though, yeah, I'm specking on this. I'm gonna have 3 of these. I have this one that's in great condition. This is gonna go to Mr. Kendra. It needs a press. I'm gonna see if he can get this baby. I mean, I don't want to say a number, but it needs a press. I'm gonna say it like that. But it can get a very high grade 9.8 possibility, depending on the press. But yeah, if you can find these for great prices, if you can find this for $30, listen, man, go out, knock yourself out, man. You guys in the UK, I can't stress this enough. Please go out hunting for some of these. You can find them in good condition, and you can find them cheap over there. Those are my specs. Cavill is the spec here, but just keep in mind that this may not pan out. That survival edition, though, that's another one to hunt for. Okay, and yeah, don't pay the eBay prices for it for $250, even though I did, but don't do that. Okay, go to your GameStop and hunt for it, and see if you can find it for good prices. Like if you can find it for $50 at a GameStop, why not? The survival. And then you could turn around and sell the game on eBay too. Probably sell it for $50 and get your money back. All right, my boys, this is a long video. There's only 2 books, really, that we're well, I'm back. Whatever lurkers I have, I don't know how many times I'm gonna have this, that people sign up just to unsubscribe because I'm way too freaking long on my videos. I don't blame them, man, but I know some of you guys stick around. My dudes, later.